Hello, I'm back with your Leagues 5 Day 13 reveal, and today we're talking about combat relics. So we're going to start by watching a video on the three combat relics. So you get a last stand, which makes you invulnerable for almost 10 seconds and boosts your damage or your stats to 255. And while you're basically in that dead phase, you heal what you hit. You also get the powerful Guardian again from last league. I don't know if it's back in the same capacity, but we'll see in a minute because I'll read about it. And here we have the real reason you're picking the Guardian relic. It's sad and depressing. None of us have friends. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty good. And you can use it in the gauntlet, which is really nice too, for those struggling to learn Gauntlet. And Specialist is your special attack relic, which we were all expecting would come back in some form. And it seems better than ever. We'll talk about it. All three extremely good options again. This is your combat relic. It's likely going to be like a final relic, is my guess. The last league's two of these options were very similar to last league's final relic choice. So they're tier 8. And then the other relic that's similar, the specialist relic, was your tier 7 relic, I believe. So this is probably going to be a very late game relic, just based on that. Who knows, though? Maybe they'll make it your tier 2. Who knows? Last Stand will allow you to live if you were going to take fatal damage. So if damage would reduce your hit points to 0, your hit points are instead reduced to 1, and all your combat stats are boosted to 255, but they rapidly tick down. If you saw in the video, your stats went like 255 all the way back down to normal over a 10-second period, and it was like decreasing at like 10 or whatever per second, 10 to 20 stat per second. But for a couple swings, you're going to be at like 255 to 200 strength. That's pretty wild. Or range or whatever it is your stats are at. So you're gonna have some nutty max hits while you're dead, basically. And then for the next 16 ticks after this ability is activated, you cannot be reduced to 0 hit points. And if you think about it, combining that with the mastery relics, 16 ticks is the combat mastery relics. If you get a tier 5 in whatever style you're on, it's 2-tick weapons for most of the styles. And maybe God Swords are 3-tick, and some other ones might be 3 or 4 ticks. But a lot of the weapons you're using, like Blowpipe, will be 1 tick. So you'll get 16 hits of invincibility essentially. So you can stand still for 16 seconds and not die and shoot. And if you have the range relic, that's pretty wild. Um, or if you're using the scythe, it's a 2-tick scythe at tier 5 melee. So you're gonna get 8 swings with the scythe in that time period if you're able to be in combat for the whole time. Uh, When this effect ends, all incoming damage is nullified and the player is healed based on the damage they dealt over the last 16 ticks. So basically, you can use it to just output massive DPS, and most likely during those 16 ticks, you're going to hit at least 99 damage. So you're probably going to full heal, or at the very least, get some of your health back. So it's effectively an invulnerability buff because you're getting 255 on your stats as well. Initially, it'll go back down to 99 over time, or maybe just back to what you had boosted. I don't know exactly how that works. But once this ability is used, it cannot be used again for 3 minutes. It's similar to last league where you had the Undying Retribution, and if you died, you couldn't use it again for 3 minutes. But that 3 minutes will fly by, and you'll kill probably anything you're fighting that killed you in the first place during your invulnerability phase. It's a very nice learning relic, in my opinion. Last league, I took Undying Retribution to help learn tombs and whatnot, and you still get punished for dying twice, but it helps you to avoid being punished multiple times. And instead of dying and having to start like a whole raid over when you die, you just you realize you get to learn from your mistakes right away and continue the raid or continue the fight you were doing. So this relic to me is very, very powerful. It's most likely what I'll be taking again to try to learn some new content again. This is a very good learner relic. If you're like if you're already an expert at raids or whatever, you're probably not going to like this relic as much because you don't probably want to die. But even then, you can play around with it and intentionally take deaths to get your stats brought up to 255. Because it's going to be fun to say go Darok bombing with 1 hit point, and for those 10 seconds, I'm assuming you'll be at 1 hit point for the Darok's effect, as well as having 255 strength for that first swing, and then for the couple swings after, you're gonna have like 200 strength. So your Darok will be able to hit well over 200 at that point, and that's just gonna be fun and silly. People are gonna be putting up funny videos with Darok hitting probably like 400 plus the Echo attack. You're gonna be hitting like 1,000 with Darok potentially, just for fun. So there is some fun to be had with this relic as well, in my opinion, outside of utility. And next, we have the Guardian Relic. Upon choosing this relic, you'll receive the Guardian Horn. This item will allow you to summon a powerful Guardian thrall lasting 30 minutes. This Guardian will attack your target with whatever style it is weak to. When you are in multi-combat, it will cast an AoE attack if the target is weak to range or magic. The Guardian stats are the minimum hit is 5, maximum hit 13, attack speed 4, and accuracy 45,000, so it's always going to hit, basically. The Guardian does not work in PvP, and this relic will work outside the Gauntlet. Now, to me, this was the worst choice last league. It's kind of nice, I think, for Theater of Blood and maybe some other things when you're only using one style, because it'll help you with those off styles for, say, Nilo or like the Spider Room. I think they're called Nilo, um, or Corrupted Gauntlet learning, of course, and the Tormented Demons. It'll do like the off style attacks for you, and it's just a very consistent source of damage, I think, because it's always hitting between 5 and 13. It hits fairly quick, 4 attack speed, and it's out. It's something you don't have to think about. Basically, you put it out, and you're doing consistent extra damage with like an overpowered thrall, and you only have to cast it once every 30 minutes, so you don't have to use it like every minute. You get it for a while. It's a very good consistent relic, but in my opinion, I think it was easily the weakest relic choice for the final relics last league. But but it's not like it's bad. None of them are bad. This is still going to be a fun, consistent choice of damage, and I think it's got similar stats to last league too. So I think this is coming back mostly untouched from what I can tell. I don't know if the max and minimum hits have increased, but I think that's around where it was sitting last league. Lastly, you have the Specialist Relic, which is the special attack relic. We were expecting this since they announced the Echo Bosses, because they mentioned with the Dog Sword part of the Echo Bosses, I believe it was, or sometime around that time, that it would be good to use with the special attack relic. So we kind of knew there would be a special attack relic again, and this is it. And it's the best one yet, I think. All special attacks are 20% now, and they have 100% accuracy plus 100% accuracy, so they can still miss, but they're gonna hit most of the time. And if they do manage to miss, uh, you'll get 10% special attack energy back. So you don't. It's not such a harsh penalty. It doesn't say anything about the light bearer here. Like, a lot of times, a special attack relic has a light bearer effect as well, and I don't see that here. But it's fine. You don't really necessarily need it, because the third effect of this is whenever you kill an NPC, you also get 15 special attack energy back. So if you're doing Slayer, for instance, with this relic, you're killing an NPC with most of your special attacks with all the buffs that we have, with combat masteries and everything. So it's basically costing you 5% special attack per special attack, because you're getting 15% of that 20% back. Um, it's a strong relic as well, I think, and you'll be able to spam your special attacks on bosses, even, because you'll be able to do something like a Bandos Godsword spec to bring it down uh 20% at a time with your special attack. So you can cast, or you can use 5 special attacks with the Bandos Godsword, or 5 Dragon Claw attacks, or 5 Dragon Dagger attacks at the very beginning, or whatever you want to do. You just get more attacks, and they're more accurate, so you're going to be hitting more often. And like I said, if for whatever reason you're missing still with all of the accuracy buffs that we're getting, it costs half as much, so it's not really much loss on a missed attack. Yeah, so it's a very good special attack relic. I think it's better than last league because I didn't like the trade off of using health for special attacks. You kind of needed to go something like Banker's Note in order to do that, just because if you wanted to spam your special attacks, you would be taking a bunch of damage otherwise. So I like that they got rid of that aspect of it and traded it in for getting more special attack with NPC kills. And there's also things like some bosses that maybe have minions. Let's say Zulra, for instance, as an example. He's got all those little baby snakes. So if you're using special attacks and you kill a baby snake, and then you get 15% special attack back from that. I'm not exactly sure where else this applies to. Maybe like Monkey Room in Tombs of a Mascot. The monkey room with all the little monkeys. Maybe you can special attack more frequently in there if you need to for whatever reason. Normally, I don't think that would be necessary, but it's another possible use where you're killing a bunch of smaller NPCs very quickly. Um, Even the Baba, the boss in Tombs of a Mascot, there where he summons the two monkeys while you're fighting him. Maybe you kill those quickly to get your special attack back to help hit Baba again. So there are boss uses in some bosses for getting that 15% additional special attack on like a smaller NPC and then going back to hitting the boss. It's got some good utility as well. I personally think the Last Stand relic is the best of the three, just because it's got both utility for newer players trying to learn how to do things without being punished and kicked completely out of raids when they fail. And it's also got some fun factor to it with having your stats go through the roof when you die. So if you take intentional deaths, you're going to be able to hit massive numbers for a couple of ticks. Like your accuracy and your attack just based on like attack and strength going to 255, and even like though you're only going to get that 255 for like the first swing because it goes down quickly, you're still going to be buffed to like 180 plus for the first two or three swings, and that's like six. That's like a 1 or 33% stat boost on the current maximum stat boost for a couple of swings. So it's very cool. Not even 33%, but a 50% actually. Thinking about the math on that, but uh, very cool. I think the Last Stand relic is gonna be fun for new players and for existing veterans alike. What do you guys think? What's your relic of choice for this league? For me, Last Stand, but we'll see if my mind is changed by something that we haven't seen yet. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like.